Welcome to the Nerdtastic in 3D podcast.
It's Nerdtastic in 3D. Oh, it's Nerdtastic in 3D. Yes, it's Nerdtastic in 3D. It's Nerdtastic
In 3D!
Bong.
In 2D.
That's the next episode. Lucky episode number 27 will be in 2D.
Is it... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 26. 26, as they say in the Spanish-speaking countries. My name is Jason Carter.
I'm Jack Eckler.
I'm Sean Fennell, back from the dead.
Yay!
That was fun. And I'm Josh Labrat, everyone.
And we are a podcast of entertainment industry professionals talking to you about anything and everything that we find entertaining and or nerdy. To start us off today, I'm going to ask you guys one question, which is very simple. How many bullets has James Bond dodged in his career?
Ooh, I'm going to say...
Has anyone ever fired at James Bond? Yeah,
Oh, yes.
that's the thing. Are you taking... I'm trying to break this down where it's like some were machine guns, some were
I love
semi-automatic
how
ones.
you're really thinking this through.
Yeah.
I was just going to go first with yes.
Yes, he has been fired at. I'm sure he has.
But has he dodged them, or has he been undercover?
I am going to just answer
I
with
believe-
832.
I believe, I'm not positive, but I believe that the intention of the statistic is actually how many times has he avoided being hit by a bullet. Not necessarily, hey, I pulled a Matrix and I'm...
Oh, well, then that number is much lower than 800 something, I think.
That's if someone's unloading a clip
Jason's
and
face
it's like...
is trying to make out. Like, I'm throwing out things to see Jason's
I
face.
said 831, I said, right? That's my answer.
That's a lot of guns.
I got an answer. I got an answer. Hold on. $1.
$1
$1.
for the Price is Right.
Thank you, Josh. So basically, anything under Josh, I win.
So Josh believes it's 831 bullets that Mr. Bond, James Bond, has actually dodged in his career. Sean?
Oh, 7.
7
007.
bullets.
Woo,
7 bullets he has
Follow
dodged.
him.
Fuck, I can't go with the dollar now because I got to go higher than Sean.
Seven bullets.
007 bullets.
You believe that James Bond has been fired at 7 times
How
in
many?
his career.
Do you guys even know how many James Bond movies have been made? Total?
Oh, I have friends right now going to.
That's why my number's as high as it is.
I
So
love
just
James Bond
Take
films.
it for what it is.
No, I'm gonna go somewhere around 250 to 300 times.
Okay, all right. Are you ready for the actual answer?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Please.
If it's 832, I'm going to flip my shit. Just FYI.
I hope so.
If it's 0, I'm going to kick this table over and leave.
Okay, so we
You
have
clearly don't watch enough James Bond movies.
we have 2 people who think that number is fairly on the low side. 207. And
Josh extraordinarily high,
831.
right?
and
Which
Josh
I'm
believes
sure I'm probably even low.
831. The correct answer is 4,662
Told you.
bullets.
Now,
4,000.
you're saying it
4,000.
bullets or avoidance? A bullet shot.
Regardless, if you're
Bullets.
stuck
No,
behind,
it's different.
if you're ducked behind a thing,
How
and
many
you're
bullets?
avoiding being shot at
Exactly.
with these bullets, you're
no,
avoiding bullets.
exactly.
Bullets.
I avoided a clip.
No, what you just said. The guns. If an AK-47 is firing at me, he's firing out, hundreds of rounds a
That's
second.
why my number was
Right.
high.
But if the number is how many times has he avoided being shot? Jumping behind a barrel's 1.
Yep.
Running's 2. You know what I mean? That number to me comes down. But you said bullets is different.
Yeah,
I got confused, I guess. There's a
I
little
think a
confusion
lawyer
there.
would ask how many bullets have been fired
There you go. That's what I
towards
want.
James Bond.
Okay, well,
I
well said.
needed the
Well
literal
said.
question.
Well
I
said.
need the literal question.
How many bullets have been fired at James Bond but not hit him?
Okay, that would have been accurate to me.
Then you would have said higher?
I want that same spec for how many times Cobra's fired on G.I. Joe in the cartoons.
Oh, man.
G.I. Joe! Thousands of red and blue beams and no one's ever been shot in that.
Hey, the more you know.
Pork chop sandwiches.
So, what do we
So
think?
can we just all agree that I was closest, so I won?
No.
I was.
No.
I didn't credit-
shit,
No.
$1.
Jason,
No,
Jason
no.
never guessed.
I actually
Because he knew the
Because he
answer.
knew the answer.
Josh, I'm incredibly impressed. Incredibly impressed. By the way, complete side
Because
note.
you knew your retarded question?
Because I understood it.
Hey,
I'm the
don't-
retard.
Do not blame the questions.
Oh, it's the question.
You were less than a quarter of the actual total.
It's okay. I just knew it was extremely high as opposed to 200,
I'm just going to say this.
300.
Hold on.
Sean, I'm just going to say this. He was slightly higher than 7.
Here, let me go.
him that.
Josh, please go into this. This reminds me of a story of me and Josh LeBrot at the Staples Center at maybe a Lakers game. It was Lakers or Clippers.
was funny.
And they they have contests during the game where you can text in. And one of the contests, and I read it really fast and didn't pay attention. But they said, how many people?
No, okay, wait,
Well,
no.
yeah,
Let's not get that far into the story. Basically, yes, as Jack said, they have the things up there, and
I can't help but laugh.
I thought Jack had seen the question, and I'm like,
I did not.
I'm like, and it was to win some. It was to win something worthwhile to enter. So I was like, dude, guess what's the number? And he's just like
Like how many jelly beans are in a thing?
yeah,
What
just
was it?
basically.
But I don't know what I'm
but,
guessing.
Yeah, but I thought he did. So I'm like, oh, guess it. And he's just like, oh.
No, you said, what's your favorite? No, at one point you go, what's your favorite?
No, I didn't say what your favorite number is. I'm like, just say a number. And he's just like, I'm like, you're like 7? I'm like, okay, well then text 7. So you had to text the number in. And then so later on in the game, about another quarter into this basketball game, it's like, and the answer to the question is, what is the attendance this evening? and Jack's just like, is that what I was supposed to answer?
Josh,
And he
no
goes,
shit.
why did you let me put 7? I was just like, I just thought that's what you do.
Josh fucking looked at me straight up and goes, dude, give me a number. And I was like, 7?
I love how you
don't
just
know.
were like, all right.
Okay, if that's what you
He
want.
knew the question. And he did. And he said that to me. He goes, really is what you're going with? But he did not say, seriously, dude, 7. He said that to me, but he
Yeah.
didn't tell me what it was about.
Okay, you're
Okay,
wrong, but
put it in, you text it, and then he fucking texted it.
Once again, I'm back to the person telling the question, not giving accurate info.
set the building on fire.
Jason Carter, everyone.
I don't know how many people are in attendance tonight. 4? That would be my guess.
Less
So,
than 7.
I suppose we should talk about a little bit of podcast business for a moment. A couple of things that we are working on. I just want to give people a heads up about. We are avidly looking into how we can actually stream live to people using some various technologies, but the one I think we're leaning on most right now is potentially in Google Plus a feature called Hangouts on Air, which we probably should have looked into more for tonight. But
We honestly though, guys, we tried last episode when I didn't bring the camera, but
that is definitely something that we are is a priority for us. We would love to be able to have people join us live, email live, text live, so we can get people more interactive with the show. So that will be coming to you soon-ish.
Soonish.
Sometime.
Soonish.
But YouTube is still going, and that's going good, and we're putting content up there. And even when we don't have a video camera, I make sure to put some stuff up there.
And I do love your...
Tell me you saw it.
I did, and that was great. It really was. Jack, thank you so much for doing the video of last week, which featured footage of our Doritos Crash Course gameplay, I believe is what it was.
Tell me you loved the intro of all of us in our avatars running in place. And I was telling Josh today, at one point, Josh's avatar was humping the ground to start with, and then I cycled through and got on the same action, and then it looped both of us humping the ground.
Hell yeah. That's just how I do
It was a lot of fun, but I want to try to incorporate more of that. So definitely, guys, if you're digging that kind of thing, I want to try to maybe do some picture-in-picture stuff where you still see us if we record the video, but also have some fun gameplay if we're playing.
Absolutely. So I think one thing that we should probably bring up, which is that tonight, this evening, we are recording on a Thursday evening, and tomorrow, which is Friday, May 18th. Is the initial public offering of Facebook, meaning that the company is going public and you can buy shares of the company starting tomorrow at $38 a share.
Epo rocks.
So we've talked about this in the past on the show. You know, we have various thoughts on the stock market, on Facebook as an investment, but what are you guys' thoughts? Jack?
I have a lot of thoughts.
I would love to hear some
We
of your
dove. Me and
Think out
Jason.
loud.
Yeah, me and Jason dove into this a bit before the show, and
little pre-show action.
and Jason, Jason being Jason, for people who haven't got that so far on the show, especially with me and him in particular, loves to either push my buttons or just loves playing devil's advocate.
I like people to make sure that they truly understand what they're fighting for in an argument.
Not just because it looks cool or sounds cool.
Right. But being us, that doesn't stop either of us from fighting our points to the end. The broad picture for this offering tomorrow is something that is something I want to point out to everybody, is that few times in our life, and this includes our entire life starting now in our 30s all the way probably till we die, is there going to be a time where a company that's already been very successful is in the public eye, that is something I spoke to Jason about, is a household brand to some extent. Goes public.
A major extent. I think Facebook is very much a household name.
Goes public. Most of the time with companies like that, they're the stories you hear about where people made their money. Where it's, I bought McDonald's when it was $1 a share, or I bought Google on the offering day at $80, and now Google sits at $680 or whatever it is. That's a very rare opportunity that we have potentially tomorrow for people who are interested. I'm a firm believer, and I don't see Facebook going anywhere anytime soon. Not because maybe it's the most amazing company setup, but because the ad sales revenue, which also, so people know, is what took Google to where it's gotten to before Android took off, is the same potential that's there for Facebook. And a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people don't realize that they also, how they approach marketing is so unique that it doesn't impede on your user experience, and that's huge. And I think people don't realize that. And if you go to a lot of other sites, and the examples that I was talking to somebody about are like, if you go to AOL's site or Yahoo or some other search engines who are
AOL, is that still around?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. If you go, MySpace is another example. These sites, once they decided to really dive into the advertising world, the advertising took over, because they said, well, if you put our thing up here, you're going to make, we'll pay you more money. Facebook and Zuckerberg have done an amazing job of saying, we don't want to be that. We want to make money. We want to be a profitable business, but we need to rethink our strategies for advertising. And I think because of that, it makes them very unique and keeps their user base without losing them. So I don't see them going anywhere. I also brought up to Jason the fact that the household name again, they're integrated in our TVs now, our consoles, our phones. It wouldn't surprise me. Why not?
Yeah.
It's Nerdtastic in 3D. We're integrated. So in my eyes, I not to cut you off, Jason. It's just in my eyes, I feel like it's a company potentially not going anywhere for some time. Now,
going anywhere?
Not going anywhere. I'm sorry, not leaving, not going into bankruptcy, not going the way of other Friendster. How's that?
Sure.
So, but I also don't see it maybe jumping to $600
right away. Yeah.
Right away. And Google didn't either. If you watch Google over time, it didn't either. But it did find a nice plateau for a while, which I think Facebook will, around the 250, 300 mark. Just give it a little time. I think if you have enough money to invest and maybe sit on it for, I'd say a year or two, especially after the first earnings report, you're probably going to be happy you did. That's just my thought. So
it's interesting. I mean, I definitely will say, advertising. I am certainly one of those people who hates advertising. I just hate it.
I think we all do, right?
The fact that YouTube, I have to watch a 15 to 30 second video in front of my YouTube video, angers me beyond all belief. Beyond all belief. But the one thing I definitely will give Facebook is that they haven't saturated or overly cluttered the experience, the user experience, at the detriment with advertising at the detriment of the experience
of making money.
Yeah, so I definitely will give you that. I think they're very, very smart in their approach to advertising. My slight devil's advocate. Now, let me start with the caveat of I definitely plan on buying some shares tomorrow. Don't know how many. Maybe one. I've got $40 lying around somewhere.
That could really get you out of a jam.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of jams.
A couple of jams.
So I definitely plan on buying a few. That being said, there are a couple of things that are interesting to think about
from the other side from the Jason side
playing
of
a little bit of devil's advocate, which is one. Facebook is definitely a household name. Absolutely. Every young adult and semi-savvy investor, every housewife in America who's got a little bit of cash and is even slightly into the stock market will be investing tomorrow in Facebook. No doubt about it.
And people drive the market.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people forget that.
Absolutely. And so that price, I definitely think that price will probably go up. Do I think that Facebook as a company is a successful company? Definitely. Look at what they've done for social media. How many attempts at social media have come before Facebook and failed?
Quite a few.
We could talk all night long about what we think the success of Facebook was, but really, ultimately, they are gigantic. They have how many users? 500 million did they pass a couple months ago? 500 million users, I think it is.
Oh, I also forgot the global aspect of the company, too. I think that's the other key to this.
So you have to say that they are absolutely a successful company. Whatever they're doing, they're success at it. That does not make them necessarily a successful business. There's a big difference there.
And I think that's what we didn't get in the pre-show that I want to pick your brain about. What you classify as a good, the camera's not on me, but I'm quoting, air quoting, business. Yeah, exactly. You look at Josh doing
I'm not saying
business.
I'm not saying they wouldn't be a good business. What I'm saying is that you have to understand that the two aren't necessarily tied hand in hand at all times. You can have a successful company. You are I am incredibly successful at making stereo images. That does not mean I'm a wise business investment.
Look at EA.
What do
EA
you-
is horrible when it comes to that. They're
What do you-
successful.
what do you? Yeah, that's. I guess it is. What are we gauging as a group? What are we gauging success as? The amount of money they make, or what they like? You know what I mean? Like, what's success to you, or what do we?
That's what I'm
gauge
talking
success?
about. There's a difference, right? When I think business investment, I think that company has to be able to make money and make you money.
Okay.
Are they a successful company? Hey, do I think that there's going to be 750 million Facebook users at some point in time? You darn right I think that's going to happen. Absolutely.
We have children.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the most successful social media company out there and will continue to remain on top. I think that they're so far ahead of anyone else even attempting social media that they're just no one can compete. I mean, look at Apple's a great example. What was that thing that they
Buzz.
No, it wasn't Buzz.
That was
that was
Google.
Oh, we have Google Plus.
Apple has like Pulse or
Oh, Apple. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Google.
there's something that Apple has that's
Do
like
they?
tied into iTunes that you can was their attempt at social media.
Ping.
Ping. Thank you very much. Ping. That's
I
what it's
joined
called.
Ping.
I did too, sir.
I got
Why
my
have you not?
picture up
Why
there.
have you not pinged me?
When's the last time you've heard of anything on Ping?
I've only
Anything.
I've only,
Sean
but
has
that's-
not pinged me
that
either.
was
I'm-
for
I'm
artists.
I don't,
based, though. You're
I'm
supposed
not
to
a submarine
ping-
captain. I'm
talk
not
about
going to be
artists.
pinging people. Sorry.
I actually, I want to point out though, real fast. I was going to throw out a thing in there. I'm like, you said kids, and I was going to go. Obviously, all of Nerdtastic's on Facebook, but there's something very interesting. Our own Sean Fennell is not, and he's one of the very few people I actually even know who's not on Facebook.
I applaud you. I do applaud
Now
you.
his wife just puts a hurt on the Facebook.
Oh yeah, she'd be loving her some Facebook.
Well, she loves some nerd. She loves, and I'm hoping a lot of people love the Facebook and go to Nerdtastic in 3D and like us. So go on, Sean. I'm fascinated by, and I think we've talked about this in the past that I'm fascinated. You're not part of that.
People have asked me about that before. I don't know. I don't feel the need to be social online ever. I went through the whole AOL instant messaging craze, and after that, I just don't. I don't know how I look at it. I'm an adult that has a family, and I talk to people in person. I don't even like calling people on the phone. I'm just that kind of guy, I guess. But for me, I don't see any benefit in being on
But
Facebook.
you'll text some angry shit.
Exactly.
I'll text some stuff,
I
yeah.
want to be one of those hands-off dads.
Is that possible? How do I make that happen?
Hands-off parenting.
you use an interesting phrase, Sean, and I'm gonna steal the mic just to finish up my thought real quick. I think social craze, right? The whole social media craze. I think about that for a second because there was certainly a moment where MySpace was the thing.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a time where instant messaging on AOL was the thing. And they sort of faded. Now, you could argue that that Facebook may potentially encounter the same problem eventually. But as far as from where my perspective, Facebook has actually done the one thing that no social media company to date has done, which is still remain on top after years and years and years. Yeah. Take, for example, Words with Friends or Draw Something. These social turn-based games that you're totally addicted for about 48 hours, and then you're like, why am I doing this?
Oh, dude, draw something is work now.
Yeah,
It's
a chore. It's a chore.
I uninstalled it because I just don't want to play anymore.
Same here. I did it last night. I uninstalled it.
Yeah.
It's social media is one of these things that it's trends. It's just moving from one trend to the next. And it's funny because Facebook is the only thing that's actually remained a major trend. But my point is not that. Obviously, they've proven that they are a successful company. 500 million people are interested in their service. What I'm not sure about is
their money-making end.
Now, I do believe that that buying into Facebook is probably a smart idea from the get-go because like you, Jack, that is a household name. Every housewife in America is going to try and buy some Facebook, meaning that stops the supply and demand. There's going to be less shares on the market. The price is going to go up.
Maybe if they create an app that lets you buy Facebook stock through Facebook.
From Facebook. If you did that, though, the world would come to an end.
Yeah, I think
Pretty sure that's an infinite. What is it?
I'm pretty sure that's a singularity.
That's an infinite loop. That's an infinite loop of like a black hole.
But here's my ultimate thing is Facebook is a free service.
Correct.
Indeed.
What's the business?
The same
Advertising?
Any company who's made money. Any company who's made money that started out free is, like you just said, is usually gone advertising, and they have. I mean, they've made money.
But
It makes me wonder if Facebook is not a business but a conduit for business, which may actually be more
Valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
than a business.
That's interesting. That's a
Google
very interesting
was a free search engine. I go back
There's
to them.
a big
I don't
difference.
mean to, but I do because their marketing strategies are different but the same in the premise of Google said, hey, we're going to create this amazing search engine. But if you're a company who wants to be a part of that, we'll offer that to you to be up front if you want to pay for it. And Facebook is saying the same thing, similarly saying, you want access to our user base. You'd like to have a fan page. You'd like us to put you on the sidebars, which I'm not sure if people really notice because they do a good job of keeping it off to the side. We can make sure you're on there.
Here's
For a
the
price.
thing with Google, though, the thing with Google is they've expanded. They're not just a search
Oh, no,
engine.
absolutely, Josh.
They
I
do
agree
the
with you.
phones. They do, and I mean, they are broadening their horizon, which is broadening them as a company, which is making their company more
Which is
valuable.
why their stock's $680.
It's also
right?
making their company
Now-
riskier in some areas.
100% as
right?
well.
But
So I'm
here's-
curious what Facebook's operating cost is at this point.
This is the problem I have with that analogy. Google and Facebook are two completely different services. Let's take all of Google aside, except for the search engine and what they originally started with. You are going to Google because you are trying to find information. Right?
I can argue back.
That you're trying to find porn.
No.
No,
You don't-
No, if I go to Facebook,
he's trying
I'm going to find
on
information
Facebook.
as well.
Like sometimes it's really easy to go to DreamWorks' Facebook page to see a trailer, as opposed to having to search out the trailer through maybe YouTube or searching out the trailer of going to their website and then going.
It's a pretty
clicking on
close thing.
trailers.
I disagree with that. I just don't
Jason.
think that those two are
Not
as
with
close
every,
as you think
not,
they are.
no, not
No.
with everything, but it is. You do go on there.
You
to
can
search.
you can get information on Facebook. Of course you can.
No. But I go there though. For what I'm saying is it's sometimes a place I go to for information.
Facebook is not by design a place that you go to for information. It's a place you can get information, but it's really a place that you socially interact with other people. That's what it is by design.
Not necess-
Google. Let me just finish my
Okay,
thought.
go ahead.
Google, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. Google, I'm just talking of the website portion. You go to Google to find information. Therefore, people want to advertise because they want to become the top hit when you're searching for specific information. I'm Joe the plumber. When someone types in plumbing services, I want mine to be the first hit. When I'm in Facebook, I'm going to Facebook. I'm going to go and check out my wall and my friend's feed, and I'm going to go, oh, what's this person up to? I'm not going to get Joe the plumber's hit when I'm going and looking up my friend Fred.
Joe the plumber has a face. The example of how Facebook's worked for their marketing, so people are aware of this. Joe the plumber has a Facebook page. He's a fan page or he's a company page, and the way those work for people who don't know, it's much like our Nerdtastic page. You can like us, subscribe to us, but we're not necessarily like a friend. It's viewed a little bit different. The idea is though, so Jason goes and sees Joe the plumber somehow on Facebook through a side ad, or just says, Another friend liked it, and Jason hits like. Jason hits like and says, Joe the plumber. When Jason hits like, now Joe the plumber has not only hit Jason, Joe the plumber now has been notified to everybody in Jason's friends list, which potentially could be a couple hundred. If 2 of those people then like Joe the plumber, it expands.
Sure.
That as a marketing strategy to sell ad space is just insane to me. One, on just a smart level. 2, it intrigues the hell out of companies because that's what they want, because it's more of a direct feed marketing for them to also get numbers back. I think when they put ads on TV, I think they get the numbers they get back on viewership and how that's affecting them is very, very small. Facebook gives them instant numbers. Instant.
Right. The difference, though, I think, is that you get advertisement, in that analogy, you get advertisement by somebody else helping you out, right?
That's part of their strategy.
There's also no monetary, like in that analogy you just gave, there's no money exchanging hands.
Well, there isn't in TV either.
I have a Facebook fan page, and my buddy helps me out, and he likes me, and now everybody on his page sees me, and somebody else then says, okay, and likes me. I've gotten a little bit of momentum going here. No money has exchanged hands.
At all. Now,
therefore, is advertising...
Is your a product? No, but is your thing a product? If you're Joe the plumber, Jason, and I like your page,
sure,
I'm probably going to use you. That's maybe why I like your page.
Okay,
but then that benefits Joe the plumber.
That doesn't.
Well, that's my point.
That doesn't benefit Facebook.
That doesn't benefit Facebook.
Facebook gets nothing.
Facebook doesn't make any money.
No. That. Joe the plumber is the one spending money to get on the side there, so Jason sees it. That's where they're making their money.
But the analogy you just gave was, I'm Joe the plumber.
You're talking about a banner on the side.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
see, I thought you were talking about
the
just
analogy
search
you
somebody
gave,
out.
The analogy you gave is you friend
right.
somebody, you like somebody, so they get notified.
Oh,
yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about how it's in there.
Now I'm on your page. Sorry.
But they pay for that service. They pay for extended services within Facebook to get that done.
Sure.
Nerdtastic right now, obviously we pay for no extended services.
Well, how much
we could though.
How much do companies pay for public information testing, how people buying patterns, stuff like that? A lot of this stuff is probably already on Facebook. There's a wealth of information in there that can be cross-referenced digitally,
so
that can be sold to the highest bidders.
I am so glad you brought that up. So Facebook, to me, I completely disagree with you, Jack. I don't think Facebook is going to be successful because they're an advertising company. I just don't buy into that. What I actually think Facebook's going to be successful is because that is the only statistical research, statistical analysis that you can get on people's interests. Google,
but that's how they sell ads.
Google, you can chart, you can track what people are searching for. Facebook, in a similar way, you can actually go in and you can track what they've actually been viewing. What's the rabbit hole of clicks and stuff that they go into? What are people commenting on? What's literally popular? Mm-hmm. That is the power of Facebook. Because now I'm some Japanese company that's interested in expanding into the American market, and I can say, okay, I sell toasters. What's popular right now in America? Interesting. Twilight the movie is popular. Maybe I'm going to make a vampire commercial to sell my toaster. And you can actually reach out to Facebook. Now, Facebook hasn't necessarily admitted they're going to do this, but you can now reach out to Facebook and say, I will pay you money for statistical data. If you can give me consumer trend data, I will pay you for that. That is the true value of Facebook.
I'm not sure they'll ever do that, though.
I don't know.
That goes back in, I think, a philosophy they have. Now, it'd be interesting.
It'd be
interesting.
I think they could
selling
just
out
because of the fact of how much they own of everything that you put up on there.
Basically, for the last year, all Zuckerberg's been doing hasn't been trying to make the site better, has been him going around selling people on how they're going to make money. That's how they were able to get this IPO moving.
Right.
There's a premise there. And at the core of all of it, Jason, we both should agree on this, is the number of people it hits.
For sure.
How they choose to use that
and its popularity.
Is irrelevant. It just, so many people use it that they can say, this is our user base. It's what Google has too. This is our user base.
Yeah.
Do you want access to it? Like you're saying, it goes any way. It's either to an advertiser or somebody like you said, the Japanese company who wants statistics. Do you want access to it?
Yeah.
Pay me.
Pay me. I think that's exactly.
And I don't
right.
think that's. I think that at the core of it's what I was. It's not going anywhere.
There's 750 million
That's
captive
insane.
audience members.
Insane.
That's huge.
Some who daily.
And when the aliens come, they're going to take over this place in a blink of an eye because
Yeah.
it's all on Facebook.
Exactly. They know whose friends are.
But the thing too, to go back to the stock thing, us buying stock doesn't influence it. Company, hundreds and hundreds of people buying stock doesn't influence or push the stock like it does. It's basically a few people.
The whales.
Okay. Technically speaking,
The whales are the people that, but like us going like, if I buy 50 shares and this guy buys 50 shares, that's not going to do a dent, not even a scratch into how to dictate how that stock is going to move.
I have a question.
We won't do anything to it. We will just ride what other people, the 4 people that are buying this actual stock,
The Warren
what
Buffetts.
they're doing. Yes.
So it's interesting. Let's say that you have enough
Ride
money.
it.
Let's say you literally have enough money to completely change a stock. There's got to be something against this, because if I had like so much money where like, okay, I'm gonna be able to push the stock price up $50 if I bought this many shares. What stops somebody from going buy, sell? Buy, went up $50, sell. I just made $50 a share. What stops somebody from doing that?
What are you talking about?
Okay, Warren Buffett. He's going to say, tomorrow I'm going to flood Facebook. It's at $38. I'm going to flood it with every single penny that I have. That's instantly going to drive that price, because of supply and demand. It's going to drive that price up super, super high, right? And then he could immediately just sell it all at that high price. He controls.
He's buying at a certain price. I get what you're saying.
What stops somebody from going 38 buy, 600 sell?
My understanding
second later.
there is a limit on what he can buy, obviously. Because there's a there's a percentage of the company you own then. You know what I mean? They're only going to give enough shares that need to be out there technically for the company to stay solvent or whatever amount of money they need. At a certain point, though, if they left it open, if you had the money, Jason, you could buy any company you want tomorrow. Like Warren Buffett could walk in, and that's sort of what global hostile takeovers are. Say, hey, I'm going to come in here and want to buy a controlling stake in your company. But most of the time, it's somebody like Zuckerberg who owns 50 whatever percent of the company. You just can't go in there and go, well, I'm going to buy. You have 50. I'm going to go buy 51 tomorrow.
I'm not talking about like a controlling interest. I'm just talking about only from.
But nobody can do that.
Can they not? Are there rules against that?
Well, and they have. And it's
You know what I
been
mean?
done before, but not in that way. Usually, they're doing something like that for another purpose, like they're trying to sway another company out, completely out, or like a lot of times Warren Buffett will buy into a lot of companies, so this other one fails, and then they buy all of those companies up,
Right.
and then they put them together, or they shut them down, or they write them off taxes, or they use it to influence politicians to build roads where they want them to be built. There's those big money bags have far bigger ulterior motives for moving that kind of cash into a company
Than just making monetary. I hear what you're saying.
It's interesting. I think really we should have probably had our good friend David on the show.
That would have been fun.
He's
Mr. Stock Market.
and actually, he's very interesting about this. I'll be curious to see if he plays it. His current strategy is he probably won't play it at all.
No, because there's the only thing that Facebook 2 has going for it is the flash. What the things that that you think Facebook is going to do can be done and is being done by other companies as well. They're just not flashing as known. That's the only thing Facebook has going for it, is just the popularity. So you can sit there and get a 800% return. There are stocks out there that are doing it. You just don't know them yet.
Right.
I'm just saying you're not going to be able to buy it at 38 after tomorrow.
That's true. You'll be able to buy it for 12.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm also just so Josh is clear, so he knows, I'm not saying it's going to 600 either, because it is a different business model in the longer term than what Google did. Google said, hey, we're sitting, and they did. They sat at 300 for, if you look at the chart, for the longest time, but then they said, okay, well, hey, let's do Android. Hey, let's get into the TV market. There's a reason they pushed up to the number they got to.
God, that Google TV just took off, didn't it?
I actually bought one and then returned it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Played around with one at Best Buy for a while and was unimpressed.
That's why.
Speaking
I
of
returned mine.
TVs,
Speaking
of a company who's diving into the old TV market,
This has no feeling.
IKEA.
Kia.
IKEA, our household furniture brand, for the cheap is
By
diving
household, do you
into-
mean dorm room
Are these
hold?
IKEA
Yeah,
couches we're
You-
sitting
you-
on?
yeah,
right
you-
now?
They
if
might be.
anybody out there denies they have one,
or don't have one piece of IKEA
exactly.
furniture.
That's what I was
I
about to
say.
say.
Don't
are
down
totally
the IKEA.
lying. That's like saying you don't masturbate. Everybody masturbates.
Yeah, Jason's making face. He's like, I don't IKEA or
I don't
masturbate.
do-
Everybody poops too.
Yeah, he just doesn't like to admit it.
Pooping on Ikea.
So,
It's actually though to
tell us about it.
dive into that IKEA TV. At first I'm like, this is going to be such a piece of crap.
You're gonna
It's going to be like the plastic
assemble it.
version they have sitting when you go look at the house model, and you have to assemble and build it by hand.
Yeah, the brand name is Props.
It's actually pretty cool looking. I think the size range is like a 36 to a 42 or a 24 to a 42.
32
That's
to
too
46, I believe.
46 is the largest it goes.
Yeah.
But it's part of a unit, but it's super modern, super nice. They hide all the cables, which are super nice. The TV, the unit itself comes with a built-in Blu-ray player, DVD player integrated.
So you don't like when you say a unit, is it like a part of a big furniture piece?
It's part of a base
It is a home
that you
entertainment.
can expand on to have extra cubbies or whatnot. It's part of what you would end up buying anyways, like as a TV stand. It's part of that.
You get the TV with the stand.
2.1 suit, and I won't call it surround, but it has 2.1 speakers in the front.
Super stereo sound.
2.1.
The TV
Coming
itself,
to you
though,
in left and right ear.
I believe has Facebook, has all the other apps that you would normally have. Also has a web browser as well that's powered by the Opera browser. 5 HDMI ports, wireless internet. Like it's
5 HDMI
yeah,
ports. Wow.
Yeah.
Does anyone
I
here
expected the
use
cheap.
more than 3 HDMI ports?
Yes.
I would.
Yeah.
Do you really?
I would if
Yes.
I had them.
I got one, and I have my receiver that has like 2 more coming into it, and that's all I need.
I've got 3 and I use all 3.
Really?
Yeah.
It depends if you have a receiver that splits the signal for you, though.
Yeah, I do have that.
But I was impressed. Needless to say, like for what I expected, IKEA, Jason, I like you have to put it together, and
Yeah, do you assemble it with Allen wrenches?
yeah, dude, it comes with hex wrenches, and it actually looks pretty cool.
Helping you out.
Pressed particle board is the casing.
It's certainly getting a lot of press. I'll definitely say that. I mean, I've been surprised. You know, I honestly kind of ignored it at first because I was with you. I thought I'm not buying a IKEA TV. Just like you, I mean, it sounds snooty, but like, let's be honest here. IKEA quality is not top of the line in any of their products.
And we're nerds, and we research things to hell, and we're only going to buy that.
We don't make just a rash decision because it looks purty.
Yeah,
But so, you know, while a set of dresser drawers you certainly may be willing to compromise on, a television for us is not something you're willing to compromise
No,
on.
And function, extremely important.
but that's what was impressive, and we'll put a link up because I'd love to hear your guys' feedback if you watch it and what you guys think. But the specs and what they give you on the TV for the price isn't that bad.
IKEA is going to be the first company that truly brings us an Android to the home, probably.
Absolutely. And it's going to
Buying
be called...
stock in IKEA.
It's going to be called Eplivo. It's an interesting, and I think the article that we're going to post goes on to say that it's going to come out next month, I believe, this summer for
and I think it just says Europe, and it's just Europe right now.
$960 in Europe, and it's scheduled to come out in the United States in 2013. I'm curious. I'm only curious because it seems like so many other people are curious. Does that make sense?
About what? About the TV and
Yeah,
what?
like,
You're curious
Are you
because of
curious?
the curious?
You're curious about the curiosity?
Exactly. No, that's exactly
I got an
right.
idea.
It sounds
I think
funny,
that
but
kills 2 cats.
Let's take the cameras. I call cameras like we have a camera team. Let's take the cameras to old IKEA when it comes out. Let's take the Nerdtastic crew to. Oh my god, we got to do that now.
In stereo.
I say we record the show in an IKEA.
That would be so fun.
In an IKEA living room.
With people walking
When people
by
walk
and
out,
shit.
dude, I'm in.
wait, what would be the most awkward place to record this in IKEA? Like the children's section?
Probably. That's the
Let's not break any laws. Let's just...
No, I want to sit in one of the. I want to sit in
We
one of
don't
the
want
living
it to
rooms.
get weird.
And when someone comes by and goes, guys, you can't have all this equipment set out, it'd be like, we're testing out your couches.
Exactly.
You joke, Sean, but I literally am more curious about the TV because so many other people are curious about it. To me, it was just like a throwaway, like, yeah, whatever. You do your TV thing. It's going to be another Westinghouse. But it's getting so much press that I think people are really intrigued.
Well, what's so innovative about it?
There's
the integration. I think the integration. IKEA makes more money than people think.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Like stupid amounts more money
I'm
than
going to buy
people
stock
think.
in IKEA.
Yeah. No. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't
like
for a damn international company.
Aren't they like $1 trillion
Yeah,
company?
yeah,
now?
they're more than people even sort of think.
Freaking
'Cause
retarded.
we
That's
all
like
say
as
that.
much. You could stack money up to the height of the freaking Empire State Building.
The thought process
Jesus.
is exactly how we all clown on. You're like, well, I'll get the dresser drawers, but I'm not going to spend money on this. But
Well,
they do
they'll sell it.
kitchens.
They'll
They
sell
sell kitchen appliances. Flooring. People sit for and for the cheap, and it's not that horrible of stuff.
Sometimes, let's be honest.
Sometimes, not every. Some things
you're
are horrible.
Right. Like their granite countertop stuff or whatever they have is actually really nice. But there are things, let's be honest, at every IKEA that you get and go, oh my gosh, $20 for a Billy bookcase. That's amazing. That is crap quality. Crap.
I've used mine to the day that I die. Like
I was like, I love the ones in my
Pretty
office.
sure
I've
I've
got-
like how many?
I'm
Are
pretty
you,
sure
are
I've
you
got
using
two
this?
that have lasted a good
When's the last time you moved it?
6 years.
When's the
and
last time you moved
It's
it?
moved twice.
In 6 years?
Yes,
I don't buy it.
it has.
The ones holding my records that you helped me build.
Yes.
You two helped me build.
Yeah.
I bought a desk
Solid as
from
hell.
Office Depot, destroyed in the first move. So
Now, I'll argue there's certain items in your home that maybe if you were going to spend money, somebody used to argue with me about bed frames there. They're like, don't buy that. If you have a job and you make a decent salary a year, they're like, buy a goddamn bed frame that's worth a shit. That might be whatever. But
There's
I'll be
actually-
honest, I
yeah.
still rock them all.
there's really only two
M-A-L-M.
things that I don't like at IKEA, and that's their sitware, their couches and such, and their bedding and all that stuff. Like anything for comfort, I don't like. But
They're-
just pretty much all the rest of the functional stuff is actually really functional and
They're knives.
easy to put
If you get
together
like
and
their
all that stuff.
knives and stuff, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And
I've
Some
owned
of
a
that's-
Dude,
mattress.
my dad buys knives at frickin' garage sales for like 20 cents, and he sharpens them, and it's like, it's good to go.
Let's put it this way: every time you go to IKEA and you sit down on one of their couches, your reaction is more rather than
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, the couch that's upstairs, Josh, that one, I've had that one. That was the first couch I bought when I moved to LA. And that was my big investment, was this leather couch from IKEA. Still love that thing.
I've got a computer desk that has been for 14 years.
I would buy a computer desk from IKEA.
And I had the bed. I had a king-size
nice.
IKEA bed for the long. Now, I will say this. Me and Josh both did at some point, said, fuck all this noise. And we both bought beds from the W Hotel and both love those more. But I'll tell you, the IKEA bed that I had, though, for the longest, it was the most expensive they sold, which I think was only like $500. But wasn't bad. It was the best for a king-size bed at the time. For people out there who have never bought a brand new bed, they are not fucking cheap.
No, sir.
But
Period.
toss a nice pillow top on there, like feather bed thing or memory mattress pad on that mattress.
But I have my W bed
Gold.
sitting on a mall IKEA bed frame. just want to throw it out there.
I heard something interesting about IKEA the other day, which was that they have a business corporate policy that no personnel on official business will ever fly anything other than coach. There is no first class, there is no business class. Even the CEO, when he flies places, flies coach.
That's how they make the big bucks.
Yep.
We had our CEO talk about how he was on the Quintus jet. That's from Australia.
Qantas?
Where you get
Qantas, thank you.
Where you get the private room.
I looked that up. God dang. I would so travel that way if I could every time.
I don't think it gives you the bed.
But
and,
it was
the
like
little fucking-
20 grand, I think, for like a one way.
Well, this is also the same owner building his $25 million home up in Bel Air. So, hey, dude, it happens.
But anyway, I think it's smart that IKEA is selling their own TV because now you can literally walk into an IKEA and
get
buy
everything.
an entire room.
Yes.
All
Is
at
it-
once.
Absolutely.
They buy an entire house.
Question though.
Well, yeah.
Is there?
When are they doing that?
The only thing
Jason?
they don't have is groceries.
Are there any other TVs?
But
out
they do have a
there
restaurant.
that have the integrated Blu-ray players in them.
The Blu-ray player isn't part of the okay, let me explain. It isn't part of the actual TV. It's part of that base
Oh,
unit.
it's part
It's
of the
built
console.
into that.
I thought it was like an
No,
IMAX
no.
sort of thing where it's
No.
all like.
Hate it.
So the $960 gets you the whole thing, the whole
Yes.
package.
Speakers, Blu-ray player, DVD player, TV, console. That's not a bad price. I don't know what the 46-inch... maybe
For your
the-
grandma. She wants to just get all that.
anyone
That's a
that just wants
fancy
something done and you
modern
just put it
thing
up
for
and
grandma.
go.
Now, I hear you, though. I hear you. I mean, Josh, it doesn't fit our size requirements, but...
What? Like, remember James's story about? But it said HD. You know, conversation like that's just what
I hear
the
you,
grandparents said. It's
Yeah.
like, but it said HD. Well, what resolution is it?
My wife still watches SD channels on my HD TV, and I'm like, really? You're still watching? Can you tell?
Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not-
know.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm
no, look, I was just going to look at this guy
not
over
gonna
here,
lie to you
Jason.
guys. Part of my whole ditching cable thing is that you certainly will compromise on quality.
Now, you guys have been in IKEA. You know when that TV goes live, every single one of those living rooms is going to have that thing playing.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, totally. They're gonna
The highest
they're
res
gonna advertise
thing
the
they
hell out
could
of that
possibly
thing.
get on that thing.
Seriously,
I
let's
wonder
go
what movies
fucking
they're gonna
record
play
there
on
and say we're like
Josh.
we're reviewing this for our website. Blah, 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 blah.
There was a short where people recorded like a short film in IKEA.
Yeah, it
Did
was
they
like
get in trouble? Or
yeah,
something?
it was like a battle or something, right? Like a
Yeah,
gunfight.
Playing with rulers and shit while we're there.
Oh, the
Pretty
paper,
fun.
the paper
Yeah,
rulers.
the paper rulers.
I don't know. Like you said, Sean, I think as a business model for them, it's only going to make them more money.
Yes.
Because people can. You
People
can get
don't-
everything
They won't
you
have
need
to
there.
go across the street to Best Buy to buy a TV.
And when they start
They're
building
right there.
prefab homes, which I'm calling it now, it's over, dude.
Shingles.
The world is ending. You may as well just check out.
You joke.
I'm not at all.
I could
I'm not
very
at all.
easily see that.
Why wouldn't they?
You know, in Oregon, there's a company. I think it's called like Harbor Palms or Beach Harbor Palms or something like that. But they make manufactured like,
prefab
homes.
Yeah, there's a place in Canada too.
Oh, they're
but
everywhere.
West Coast.
the homes, if you like look at them, I mean, granted, they are prefab homes, but they are not like a mobile trailer.
No,
home.
No,
they're not.
it's
No,
a
no, no,
full-on
no,
like
no.
two-story.
They're
Like
not-
it
they're
looks
made-
like Jack's house.
They're
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
made to
it's-
order houses
Dude,
with
they,
real shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're no like when
I have
we were
no
going to buy the
problem
land,
ordering one of those
Yeah.
if I had land.
the
Not a
Soltis
problem
And
at
they're
all.
actually not
when we were looking
super
into
duper
that,
expensive.
that was the other
either.
alternative. I wanted to buy land out by us when I was going to get that Soltis house, and I started looking up prefabs. In California, it's still huge, and I'm into the modern homes. There's a list that goes on forever just in California of companies who do that in LA, and it's literally every room you customize to the nine. If you want, I want wireless just in that room. Okay, and I want marble in that room, and I want it's.
There's
But here's
not-
the thing,
I think there's a
pref-
company based in Seattle that makes homes completely from recycled material.
Oh,
It's
right.
like total green homes.
It's
prefab.
just
but
there's issues with it.
The
but
home is, I mean, they're not like okay. Let's say you get a 2-story, 4-bedroom home or whatever. That's not going to run you $400,000. That's going to run you $150,000 for a prefab. Like that's the interesting part about it.
It is. There's some that are less, but like Josh said, if I wanted to get my home as a prefab, which they do, they make huge ones if you really want them. They get a little more pricey.
Sure, but
they
not,
get a little more.
not
No,
they're cheaper than
They're cheaper than building from scratch,
Yeah.
is my understanding. But obviously, you still have to have. There's a lot of the sites that I went to. There's a lot you have to do prior to getting it, though.
Oh yeah.
There's
'cause you have to set up
the
your land, your
land,
piping,
and
like
you got to
all
get all
that
the
stuff.
geological
Piping.
surveys,
Yeah,
and
you gotta
there's a
get
lot
your
that needs to get done.
foundation
But
put in, then you need to figure out how to get the house to you and assembled as well.
But if you've ever seen videos, and this goes to all you guys if you haven't seen them, because I've seen a couple, the videos of them building and shit is just when they put the house together, it's like fucking Legos, and it is cool
yeah,
as
dude.
shit.
That's like that. Did you ever see
So
that?
cool,
done.
so cool.
That video of like I think it was Japan, because they had made all like the walls and stuff like that before. They assembled a 17-story building like within like 4 days or something
in
like
China. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the
And that's
fastest
it. The
construction
same,
in
yeah,
the world.
same
that.
premise.
Because they just made like basically like every wall.
They
and
basically prefabbed entire floors.
Yeah.
And then they had like 2 cranes lifting it up together,
stacked
kind of
them.
a thing. And
that's cool.
so let's. I'm going to bring it back around. Speaking of TVs, let's. Which I'm sure the IKEA TV is not 3D capable. Right?
Well, you read the article.
No,
I didn't see
well,
it.
maybe
I didn't either.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
So on the subject of 3D, I did want to talk about briefly that Real D, which is one of the main companies behind stereoscopic 3D entertainment.
the best company.
I personally believe they have one of the best products.
Yes.
They have teamed up with Unreal Technologies, Epic company Epic in North Carolina, who makes the Unreal game engine, which is basically the most popular game engine in the world.
And also
most
made the
widely used.
Unreal titles, Unreal Tournament, and
Gears
so
of
forth.
War.
They
Gears
make
of War is their big one. Yeah.
Absolutely. So they have teamed up with them to add better stereoscopic 3D support for the Unreal Engine 3, also in the Unreal Development Kit, which is free for anyone to download who has a PC. It is, in my opinion, I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's an incredibly great advancement. So you've heard me talk before that I think that the future of stereoscopic 3D is actually in interactive entertainment in the video game industry, but that to date it hasn't been done all that well. It's been done, and there have been some more hits. There are a couple hits, couple hit and misses, but the hits are not awesome. And I think that this is going to take it into a realm. It's going to allow more tools, more artistic capabilities for developers to really add something amazing and extra enhancement to their games.
Do you think a few of us are going to go? I think Sean bailed this year, but are going to go to E3. E3 this year. Do you think we're going to see more 3D titles this year than say last year?
I think that the video game industry is being uncharacteristically cautious about stereoscopic 3D. It is waiting to see what the market's going to do. You know, Hollywood it's kind of the opposite. Hollywood is the one who just repeats, rinse, cycle, repeat kind of a thing with their stories. But Hollywood's the one that's pressing stereoscopic 3D entertainment into the homes. Games, on the other hand, has been very revolutionary in gameplay and graphics. And yet when this new technology comes around, they're being very cautious about accepting it. I don't think so. I think this year at E3, I think we're going to see the same level of 3D display that we have before, which is Sony's going to have a title or two up with several screens that you can try it on. I think we might start to see Microsoft support that a little more, maybe a screen or two that has showing off the 3D capabilities of some games. And then there's a couple of vendors like Ubisoft usually has a screen up or two. Disney probably will as well. You know, it's usually a screen or two. I think the thing that you're not going to see is it's being really superly predominant. You know, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, come check out Halo 4 in 3D, or you're missing out if you see it in this mono version. It's just going to be, no, come wait in line for Halo. It's mono, whatever. Oh, by the way, we also have 3D capabilities.
I don't know. Resistance.
Yeah, I would say last year
is like that's all you can play it on. I think it
No,
was...
I thought I played the normal and you played the 3D.
They did have two separate.
Yeah, I think I played because I was
3D
asking
and
you
2D,
because
yeah.
you actually played it in 3D, and I think
thought
me
you
and
had to,
Sean played it normal. Didn't
turn it
didn't
on.
you
I
play
think I
normal?
played 3D.
Did you? I
think
played it. I played
3D.
it normal. I had other problems with the game.
Yeah,
It
I just
wasn't
couldn't
3D.
control it as well as I'd like. But.
You know, this is it's interesting. While we're on this subject, I guess should we bring up the fact that E3 is actually in like 3 weeks, something like that?
Shit,
Is
yeah,
it?
I guess it is.
3 or 4 weeks?
Did you get your stuff in the mail?
I did.
All right.
And we Nerdtastic in 3D minus Sean and minus Adam.
Well, I mean, I had my I had a pass last year. I would easily be able to get another one with my professional thing, but if it's closed, then
Yeah, I think it's closed at this point. Yeah. But we will be going, and we will be somehow reporting to you guys, covering it.
We'll give you our
whether
take
that's
of it.
us recording on the floor or doing an awesome recap with everybody. But
No, I'll bring the
somehow-
camera. We'll get some footage.
Somehow
I can call in. The only problem is E3 happens essentially right when crunch time for Guardians is happening, so I had to bow out, and I have to bow out from SIGGRAPH as well, which really blows. So,
SIGGRAPH.
So yes, so E3, we would definitely be hitting that up as a group. Josh, I know Jack and I are talking about doing it. You going with us?
Oh, I'm gonna.
That's a no.
I've discussed this with everybody.
Josh,
I have gone to E3 countless of years, and
I bet you could
I think
probably
you
count
can
if you thought about it.
Think about counting.
yes, I could. But I don't want
7
to.
years.
I've gone since 2003.
007.
So how many years is that for me? And I think
4,662 bullets.
maybe, yes. Hold on, dodging or firing?
Yes, Josh.
But here we go.
African or European?
It's relatively the same. And with technology moving as quick as it was, E3 was great back in the day. It was fantastic because there wasn't any other place that you can see these games. and experience these sort of things. You can only demo games before if you had like Xbox Live Magazine or something of that nature. Nowadays, stuff is up before it even gets to E3, and they go like, oops, it got leaked. So like their big reveal is something that you can watch on YouTube the day before. And a lot of it is video stuff now. Gameplay stuff is very rare. And before, like I said, you used to have just kiosks, like just lined up. You can go pick up your controller. It would have a little meter that said 1 to 100 and a sticker basically of what percentage the game was at. And so they would sit there, this game is 30% done. And then like you'd play it for a little bit, you'd stand there and then walk away. Somebody else would play it and stuff like that. You didn't have to wait in line, and you got, however, you get like 25, 40 minutes when you wait in those lines to just sit there and play. You don't have a bunch of, you didn't have a ton of exclusive VIP screenings of just trailers and stuff like that. Man. And you can just, you went in and you watched, you played the game, you watched a demo of it. And again, this was all stuff that, as you can see it on the internet, now you can see it on your consoles. You can play these demos like so much more earlier. So the anticipation of stuff to come out, it's not there anymore. So when I go there, I can hit up everything I need to from basically lunchtime or like 2 o'clock till 5 o'clock.
I blame Facebook.
But you don't. I don't need. I don't need that whole day anymore. Because
I got the same problem with SIGGRAPH. Last year when we went to SIGGRAPH, everything that you wanted to see was behind a booth that was scheduled at like 9:30 in the morning, and there was a line of like 30, like 70, 80 people waiting for it. And I'm like, I don't want to wait to see something that I'm going to be able to see in a month, or maybe I've already seen.
Yeah.
Or,
the accessibility that we have is just.
I think the thing
I'm not young enough to be excited about that stuff anymore.
I think there's two things that I look forward to at E3. One that you can't get from videos. One is the energy level. I think that there's an incredible amount of energy and passion, and people are so excited to be at this. This is the big trade show event for the video game industry. So there's an incredible amount of passion and energy just in the room. Just walking into that room, you feel it. The other second thing for me,
not last year.
At E3?
Yeah, it was very little energy.
I disagree. I always feel it. When
there was a crap load of people around Wii U for some reason, but I don't know what that's all about.
But then the second thing for me is I'm a very big fan of that's your opportunity to go see the not big people as well. I like to go cruise around all the indie game people and all of the student projects and all of the things that get represented by grants and special funding.
Before that, they didn't have that. Right. So that is something, yes, new and accessible and something you could focus on. Now, before the first time I ever went, I went all 3 days. When it opened, when it closed. When it opened, when it closed. The next year, I went 2 days. Opened and closed. Next year after that, went 1 day. And then every other year, I just go for a couple of hours because that's all I need. Because a lot of times, everything is repeated. People are in the same booths. It's the same thing.
You can guarantee that there's going to be a very large Assassin's Creed banner hanging over the convention center.
Oh,
yes.
I just my take on it now is I'm sort of like I've been going since 2003 when the first thing I ever worked on was there, and I remember how that was, and because it was new for me, it was exciting, and they had, and even then they had an indie section. It was downstairs, but there was definitely a lot of hype. There's a lot of people. It was exciting. Something that always struck me back then, and it still does now, is how many people tend to be there. And this is an industry event only, meaning you're supposed to only either be a professional or working in the industry, and that's it. There can't be that many people working in the video game industry to show up at this thing. That's always the first thing I notice about these things. But the problem is now, I think with E3 and why to me it's lost some of its luster. In general, is you have two other conventions now that have stepped up to be, in my opinion, somewhat more exciting to people. GDC, which has been around a while, has done nothing but go the opposite. It's actually grown in momentum quite a bit. I talk to more people who are more excited to go to GDC now than they are E3. The second is PAX. PAX has now come to dominate that, where the game companies are more interested in getting it to there, because PAX isn't an industry event. It's anybody who wants to buy a ticket can go there. So when they show the game, they're actually showing it to actual users who are going to buy it. And everybody I know, the couple people I know who still work in the game industry, they're more pushes to get it out for that than it typically right now is for E3, for whatever reason that is. Now, that's not going to say this year, Jason, when we go, like, I want to try to take it back to the roots and experience the Jason experience, because I haven't in a long time. Because it has been sort of like I've been sort of how Josh is, where it's, I don't want to wait in a line, and it's turned into super press heavy, super VIP, which when we say press heavy means Microsoft will have a huge booth, but have 10 kiosks that maybe you can play some titles. Everything else is behind a closed door that they won't show you unless you're either press or part of that VIP crew. And everything last year to me seems like that was when I went to see DJ Hero. Do you remember, like, dude, that was my big thing. All I wanted to fucking see was DJ Hero and see the turntables and everything else. And all they would do for people is show a little presentation where somebody came out, and then they took the whole unit backstage, and that was it. And if you missed the presentation, that's all you got. Now note that same year we got to try Tony Hawk's Skate, which is pretty funny to watch us.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, to watch us rock out on that. But for the most part, it was so much of the VIP stuff that it actually was a bit depressing. I hated that they did that they took that away from everybody, because it's supposed to be an industry thing with professionals. Why do you need to have so much closed door stuff if you...
Exclusivity.
Is it, though?
Exclusivity. It makes something more attractive if you have to be special to see it.
It just turned into a thing, like Josh said, where I felt like everything that I really wanted to see, it was more convenient to watch on IGN's report that they do of E3 videos the next day or the day of or whatever. You know what I mean? Now, what I've never been to, I'd like to go to, and I don't know if any of you guys have, is the what I end up watching on IGN anyways is like the Microsoft presentation,
which is going to be streamed on Xbox Live this year.
Oh, nice.
As well as Spike.
But I watch this. I'd actually love to just one time go to one of those events.
Sure.
Is it just press?
Probably, but Nerdtastic in 3D is pressing things.
We are. I find those pretty cool. I like watching, because that to me is the most innovative thing. Is what gets announced in those meetings by the big three.
Yeah, well, some of them, right. But for me, and I admit I'm not a huge fan of the other two, but for me, both PlayStation, both Sony and Nintendo, they seem to have fizzled their presentations in the last couple of years. Microsoft's still going big. They're still doing like crazy sets.
They are big.
But then Sony and Nintendo kind of seem to be fizzing a little bit. I wanted to we'll move on slightly from this. We will be covering this definitely more as we get a little bit closer. Let's talk about something that happened last week, 2 weeks ago, which is that there was an Xbox Live arcade title that came out that I personally have been incredibly excited about. It's called Minecraft by a developer named Mojang. Specifically a guy named Marcus Perkins Notch. Some Swedish guy.
Not gonna work here anymore.
Baby fish mouth.
So let's talk about this. I know that we've spoken about this on the show before. I know that it doesn't appeal to anyone except for me. And the 1 million units it sold in 5 days, making it the fastest selling Xbox Live arcade title in history.
Slarty Bartfast.
What's that?
Slarty Bartfast?
Did I say something wrong?
No.
Oh.
Slarty Bartfast.
I told you it wasn't important.
I don't want to stray from that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So 5 days, 1 million copies sold. $20 a copy. That's $20 million. Shared between Mojang, the original developer, the 4J Studios, I think it's called, which is the company that ported it from the original PC platform, and Microsoft, of course, which owns the Xbox Live Arcade. Jack.
Sir,
I want to talk to you about this in particular because let me just say this. I haven't ever played Minecraft before. I've seen several videos known that it's going to definitely be right up my alley. To date, it's been out for 2 weeks. I think I've put in close to 20 hours.
I'm getting... No, you don't get it. I'm getting texts. For a while there, I was getting texts like at odd times being like, I'm 4 hours deep and I'm still in this cave.
It is unbelievably fun. Unbelievably fun. And Jack, I wanted to talk to you specifically because you
and
the family came over the other night for dinner to join our family for a little supper. And while we were there, we forced our ladies to endure a little bit of Minecraft playing. Because I got to show you.
In all fairness, I said to you, hey, I want to see the hype.
You said sell me on it.
Yeah, I said sell me on this. Yeah, sell me on the. Oh, dude, wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
So one of the things about this game that is particularly impressive to me is that the world is procedurally generated, meaning every time you start a new level, it's a completely new experience. I just find that interesting. I find it kind of a fascinating idea. So I was showing you this, Jack, and I was saying that, hey, there is this underground cave system that I have spent a total of, I believe now, 12 hours exploring and have not found the end to. And I wanted you to see what was procedurally generated in this world and how big of a thing this was. So I turn on the game, and I show you around, and, hey, this is a little bit about what the game's like. And then I said, why don't you try it out? So
he hands me the controller, and I'm back to the wives thing. God bless them for watching this game. It is not, especially what I'm about to tell you I did, is not the most exciting thing. But then it turned a corner, this is what fascinated me about this game, Sean, and I know you'll appreciate this, is so he gives it to me, and like any kid who's like not thrilled to be in it to start with, I'm walking around, I'm like, okay, there's chickens, I can hit them, and oh look, I can like Josh said, look, I took down a tree, and Jason's telling me, hey, go grab some wood. I'm like, okay. And then I look at him, I go, hey, have you go down to this cave, how far have you dug down? And Jason looks, he goes, I don't know. I'm like, is there a limit? So I'm asking my key questions, like, why? Why? And then I keep going. Jason's like, hits a point with Jason, he hits his wall, and he's like, I don't know what you can do. And he's like, it's up to the RAM in the machine. I'm like, okay. So I'm just standing in place, I go, all right. And I start straight down. And I must have held the button for I can't tell you how long I held the button.
You should also mention that the only
with my fist.
The only thing you had was a pickaxe.
Oh, that went away really
No
fast.
torches,
no
light source, no food,
yes,
no
for the
nothing.
people who play this game, I had nothing. And I didn't realize that the pickaxe that runs out.
It is a limited resource.
At some point in my excursion straight
so
down,
you ended up digging yourself into a hole you would never
Here's the thing.
out?
I'm trying to go to China, and at some point my pickaxe
Your poor
turns
family had to watch this for how long?
Turn it now. Now Jason's doing this. His giggle, if you see him in camera, that Jason's next to me just still giggling, and I'm holding this down. And at one point, we just keep having a conversation of the four of us, and I'm still digging. I'm holding it down, digging. So then I finally hit a point, I'm like, I wonder how far I am. And I didn't realize at one point I went to fists. Because if you run out, you're just doing, you are. You're just punching. You're punching your way to the center of the earth.
Punching dirt blocks.
So Jason tells me, he's like, well, you've slowed down because you've been using your fist for the last 10 minutes. I'm like,
if there's any listener that could calculate how long it would take to ground punch through to China, I would love to hear that number.
So I stop and I look up. You can see, you really could see anything, really. I mean, there was a speck of like a pixel where I think the opening was. And I look at Jason and I said, okay, well,
now what?
How do I get out? And he goes, you have to dig your way. And I'm like, huh? So I sit there, I go, so you literally have to make stairs. He's like, yep. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. So I start. And we're talking, and I'm like, and the girls, and I'm trying to like keep them entertained just enough to let me actually do this, to finish it, before she gets so pissed that I'm still doing this. But what was fascinating is that, so at one point, and I'm doing this, and I'm building the stairs, and I'm trying to do it in a spiral up.
But you get...
With my fist. I don't have yet
and you
material
get
to
lost.
do it.
You get to a point where there is no light.
Oh, it stopped.
There is no light.
In the world... Well, I had a point where the world ended, because it was he put me in the tutorial map that had limits. So at one point I dug one way so far that I'm like, and it stopped. I'm looking at Jason, I go, I don't think I go any. He goes, nope. So I turn, so I go up a little further. And at one point, though, I go through a wall, and there's some light. And I get, and it was funny at this point, it was a turning point. Even the girls, oh my God, there's light. And everybody was excited like I had been doing this, but I realized...
You just spent a couple hours in prison.
We're at 30 minutes at this point at least. But
Okay,
then I realized, Jason goes, well, I don't know if that's what you think it is. Because I knew I hadn't hit the roof. And it was this lava patch, but we were all, for whatever reason, still excited. I'm like, I'm not giving up. So I keep going. And it was just amazing to me by the end how excited. Oh, and halfway through, Jason goes, I think you've collected enough crap now to make another pickaxe. So I'm still using fists. And let me tell you, dude, for people who haven't played the game, using your fists to do anything in that game sucks ass. It's horrible. So he makes a pickaxe, and then everything's sped up. Like, I was going through 2 swipes. I'm through a rock, 2 swipes. When I we hit a point where we could finally hear cows.
Yes.
And Jason goes, do you hear it? I'm like, what are you talking about? You can hear...
But here's the best part. The best part of this was not actually the fact that you were like, oh, okay, you're excited that we're getting close. The best part was the look on your wife's face. She was so excited that we made... She was stressed out. She had gotten stressed out
Her
at the
anxiety
fact that...
flared up that I'd never get out of there.
Yeah. And she was like, no, we can't leave until you...
She says this.
Until you get your character out of this thing.
And when I broke through...
There was
everybody
cheering.
in the room. Yeah, everybody in the room
cheering.
was like, oh my God, where's my... And then what was funny is where I came out, the next mission was where was my hole at? Because obviously where I ended up coming out of the hole was somewhere different. And I walk over to it, I looked at it, I'm looking at Jason, I'm like, we start joking, I'm like, don't push me. Because it's a straight shot back into the abyss of nothing. Okay, so as a gimmick, that part was pretty fun. And actually the way I thought about it for the show... There could be potential to be pretty funny if the group of us did some jackass things like that in that game.
So I'm not up on Minecraft. Is the
You
premise
might like
that you
this,
have
Sean.
an open world that there is no purpose? You make your own purpose in the game, or
So yes and no. The basic premise is explore and survive. So there's all these monsters that spawn at night, and Jack can attest they do pop up, and they are a little scary when they pop up.
Anything in the dark
surprise you.
potentially has zombies. So like even Jason was showing me a cave. That cave he's exploring. He goes, check this out. You get close enough to where like we heard the cows. If you get next to a wall, you start to hear the.
Okay.
And if he breaks through a wall, there potentially could be one right there.
So the basic premise is, it's explore, it's gather resources. Those resources allow you to explore further and faster. Basically kind of a resource economic system in the game. However, I do remember now I've seen only videos, but apparently one of the main goals, there is an end point to this game, which is more of a simulation than anything, where you can get to a certain type of block, and you can cause a natural phenomenon to occur where you create a certain type of block. And you can only mine that block, you can only collect that block if you have a certain type of a pickaxe, which is very hard to get. And once you collected enough of these blocks, you can, I know this sounds bizarre, but you can build a gate to hell.
Called the Nether.
The Nether.
That was explained. Justin last night while we were playing was telling me about
The Nether is basically, it's hell. It's all orange and lava and red and fiery and stuff. Supposedly, and I haven't done this.
That doesn't sound like Dante's hell.
Supposedly, down in hell, there's a dragon, and you have to defeat the dragon. And once you've defeated the dragon, the credits roll. That is supposedly the.
Now,
Spoiler alert.
Now, what I
Thanks,
found,
Jay.
here's what I found interesting is, as I was explaining to me last night, is the version on the Xbox is equivalent to what's on the PC. As like an example would be, it's at like a 1.5 beta, where the PC is like on version 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is definitely behind. There are extra things now in the PC version that the Xbox One does not have.
They brought up some cool things. There's a like a world builder that's supposedly very cool on the PC.
So there's a creative mode and a survival mode. Survival mode is like more of the game. The world builder is basically, okay, here's every possible type of block you can want, and it's basically Legos. For me, that's
make
not
yourself a binary system like that dude made his own computer calculator.
Yeah, exactly.
Analog
I told Jack there's an
He was
8-bit.
telling me about that.
There's
Yeah.
a guy who made a fully functional 8-bit computer.
I
in this
don't
world.
get how. I don't get how that's possible though.
like
That's where I'm confused.
There's
I
a
have to watch
concept
it.
of electric circuits. We can explain it later. But here's ultimately what we need to start wrapping up. I wanted to kind of get at with this, which is $20. I don't know about you
You've
guys.
made your money. You made your
for
money
me,
back.
and then some. But then I will continue to play this and get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I think this could be a very fun Nerdtastic and 3D group game.
I'm in.
Josh, there's
For $20?
I tell you what, Josh, there's
$20?
I'm with you. There's enough retardedness for one night where we all would laugh. Like when I was chasing the chicken around for a bit, I'm like, because we would do dumb shit. Me and you would be like, let's get to the bottom first. Like that kind of stuff to me is kind of fun. Like I don't know, or who could build the biggest house, or like there's dumb stuff like that I think that's what makes that game fun. And YouTube videos, that's where they make their fun.
If nothing else, the idea of me trying to teach you guys what to do while you troll your way through the game would be entertaining.
I would love to go in with a group purpose
Yeah.
and try to achieve.
Well,
that
and you
purpose.
you cracked up half the time when you were trying to teach me how to do like the crafting thing.
You're
Is
just gonna
what
hear me go, "This is stupid."
Look,
I don't get this.
Look, I think
I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be Sean in playing Modern Warfare. It's gonna be me, just yelling out, "This is bullshit!" You'll hear the microphone.
I do think that the
Josh.
I do think that the getting to the there's a very large challenge in getting to the Nether and fighting the dragon, and that could be something that would be a good, interesting group goal. Anyways, for $20, I think it's something that I would encourage you.
I want to build a castle that
Let's make it
spells
a
out
little bit, a
Nerdtastic.
little bit smaller, but
I want a Nerdtastic
start
castle.
out smaller than defeating the end boss right off the bat.
We have goals, Sean. No, my goal is to build the castle that spells Nerdtastic across the world.
Done.
great.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
Is it
so
possible
that's
to build a working spacecraft?
yes.
Let's do that.
I don't actually know.
Go to space.
So,
Mind space.
one more bit of housekeeping, businessy related stuff. Something that none of you know I'm going to announce.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, you might if you have been paying attention, but I doubt it. We have been doing
I love how
something.
he said, I doubt it.
We have been doing something in the last several episodes that we like to call the weekly challenge. Now, last week's weekly challenge was from Adam, and since he's not here to tell you about it,
show again.
yes, that was our weekly challenge. So Adam's weekly challenge last week was go to Taco Bell and try something you haven't tried before. Gentlemen, Josh,
What?
did you partake?
Oh, I did.
What'd you get?
I just got a gordita. I've never had a gordita.
What'd you think?
Eh,
Yeah, okay.
I felt that way about the gordita too.
I was kind of. I mean, when you go from the they have the cheesy gordita.
You can't go.
crunch,
Yeah,
you can't go
go
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
Listen.
getting the nacho bel grande.
You get it,
and
you're just
can I
kinda
get the nachos? Yeah, here's your side of chips and a little plastic cheese
Hey,
cup.
you laugh, but that's my wife's favorite meal.
Do you know that Taco Bell does not sell jalapenos? Or offer jalapenos in any way?
Did not.
You cannot get
So,
jalapenos at
so
Taco Bell.
Sean, it's not fair. Obviously, didn't know the challenge.
Right.
Instead of trying something new, I one up myself.
I would have ordered water.
That would have been something new to get a Taco Bell. Instead of just okay, for people who haven't had it, I love the Dorito Locos Taco, but I can only do one at a sitting. and for anybody who's had it, you'll get why after you've had just one. I went for 3.
It was everything I knew it would be.
And I'm not going back. So I mean, I did something new, but I didn't. I didn't experience that. Now, on the same note, though, I did experience Minecraft, and that to me is leaps and bounds.
Jason, did you do the challenge?
I did. I had a double-decker taco, which I had actually never had before, and was very disappointed. It was soft, not crunchy. Mm-hmm. It was like soggy. It was very odd.
Gotta be careful.
Did it have a hard shell?
Yeah, it had both, but the hard shell was like sogged.
Have you
through.
had that?
It's the soft shell with the beans and then
It's
the hard
a
shell, right?
it's a wannabe Gordita Crunch, dude. You can't fuck with the Gordita Crunch.
We
had
all
I-
have
I've-
established what we like there. Let's just,
Yeah.
we all know.
And if
feel
you're
like
a
I've
listener
had
and haven't
many-
had it,
I feel like I've had much of the Taco Bell menu over the times that I've been to Taco Bell, so I don't know that I may have found something new, but I don't know if I haven't had one of their items yet.
So I am going to. So this is the bit of news that you guys don't know that's coming. So Sean, because you haven't been here, and I don't want to put you right on the spot. Next week you can come up with our weekly challenge, and I'll go ahead and I'll come up with the one for this week. But here's the rub, as the pirates would say. He was an Irish pirate.
your accent's slightly off. Freedom.
So we are going to try something with you guys, which is most of the people, all of us in this room, certainly a lot of the people who listen to the show, we're game players. We like games. We like challenges. We are going to turn the weekly challenge into a game. You are going to be able to collect gamer score or points for each weekly challenge. Now, this is completely on the honor system.
So screwed.
And we, as a group, we will determine what we think each challenge how many points that challenge is worth. And again, it's on the honor system. It's up to you to keep track of how many points you have. But once you get to a certain point threshold, there may be a special prize involved that we're not ready to announce just yet.
Yeah.
But, so keep track of your score. Keep track of your points. Again, we are going to, as a group, decide how many points a certain challenge is worth.
Do we have an app for that?
We might one day. But then also, we definitely want you to document these weekly challenges.
And that's what I was going to say. Are we... Yeah.
We want people to start...
This is video documentation?
Just a picture is fine, I think. Just
Okay.
Do we want to do it that way?
Yep, send in a picture. Send in a picture, or if it's hey, if it's you trying something at Taco Bell, just have somebody snap a little iPhone picture to us, tweet at us, do something, send it to us, Gmail us, whatever. But basically, that's the idea: is you're going to start achieving gamer score, and again, it's completely on the honor system how many points you have. But we're going to start that this week. And this week's weekly challenge, I'm actually going to take it to a slightly more serious place, and I actually encourage people to instigate a semi-random act of kindness. What I'm challenging everyone to do is everybody probably eats out in the week at least once. I want you guys to tip your waiter higher than you would normally tip them. Just that simple. Just make somebody else's life just a little bit more happy. Whether or not you think they deserve it, put that aside, set that aside, and actually just give them a little bit more money just to do a random act of kindness.
Cool.
I'm not saying put $50 out there. I'm saying, hey, I would normally tip $6. Throw 10 down.
I'm going to tip the drive-in dude at the world's best Burger King down the street from my house.
Dude, they deserve it. They deserve it.
Nicest freaking people.
He's not exaggerating.
The Burger King on the corner of Colorado and Chevy Chase
In Glendale, California.
California is literally the nicest people I've ever bought burgers from.
And I've gone separately after he told me this, thinking it's impossible. And he's so not lying. How's your day going? Like,
they're just
we're over the top.
genuinely pleasant people.
So I think that we as human beings have the capacity to instigate kindness and change in the world. And this is, I think, one small, and maybe I'm putting too much philosophy in this, but this is one small example of how we as a group of people, the four of us, anybody who's listening, can actually put some kindness out there in the world.
No, Jay, this is where you start the Kal-El speech from Superman, dude. They're good people.
They are a good people.
That's so awesome. Sean.
That's such a nerdy note. We have to end on that.
That's amazing. I was about to say, this is getting so heavy,
No.
and then Sean brought it right back.
That is the
to earth.
perfect ending. Ladies
Thanks,
and gentlemen, this has
everyone.
been Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 26. My name is Jason Carter.
Oh, I'm Jack Eckler.
I'm Sean Fennell.
Josh Lebrat.
Thank you so much for listening to us. How many gamer score, how many points should this weekly challenge be worth? Almost skipped that completely over.
25.
Wow.
That's big.
Wow. I was going to go 5.
Yeah, I was going to say about 10.
Josh aims high. Josh
you know
all
what?
night long has been aiming
7.
high.
Go sit on your thumbs and rotate.
my
Okay,
number
that's all
for
I'm
the
going to
night.
say. Sons of bitches. You shot me
And-
down.
and-
I get made fun of how many bullets.
All right. No. This, admittedly, you're putting some money aside for this, so we'll make this one 15. That's a nice.
And I tell you what, let's. I'm gonna tonight when I actually get home, I'm gonna do a post on our Nerdtastic and Facebook page, just posting the weekly challenge and reminding everybody. And feel free to comment. Let us know.
Absolutely. And remember, this is not something that you have to do by any means, but this is something that we should feel privileged to do.
And a real quick shout out to one of our listeners on Facebook for posting as a response to one of the cereal challenge, posted double chocolate cookie crisp, recommending that to the Nerdtastic team as a extreme cereal option next time you go.
Interesting.
I was impressed to see it, and bravo, sir. We commend you.
Can we deep fry it?
I like it a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, like we said, this has been Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 26. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Pasta.
Nerdtastic, Nerdtastic, Nerdtastic.